Good morning, my name is Sean Robertson and I'm Sales Director at Sunseeker International here in Poole. And today, on a glorious day that it is, I'd like to take you on a quick review of this stunning Predator 50 behind us. But before we go on board, I wanted to remind you all of some of our heritage and pedigree whilst we've got this glorious hull in full view. Now, Sunseeker has a heritage of racing. So back to the mid-80s, with the XPS 34, we were in the World Championship Series, and still to this day is the only production model that actually outright won a round of the World Championship on a very rough London Calais race. Going forward, we entered in the Round Britain race in the mid-80s, again taking a couple of the top spots, and then later on going into the XS 2000 era, we had numerous records and very good success in the P1 Endurance Series. And this hull behind us is what has come of all of that background, of all of that pedigree. So you'll see that she's still got a very, very good degree of dead rise on the hull. And it's a warped dead rise. Very fine entry at the bow, displacing out slightly wider as we go aft, which gives you a good balance of not only speed, performance through the water, but also the ability to carry load and get a great running angle for the client, so it's comfortable on board. You can see this hull coming up with the two chines, which are significant. You'll see these on every Sunseeker hull, running about 3/4 of the length. These not only generate lift, but provide grip in the water, deflect spray, and really just adds to that ride. And then you finally come up to this hard chine at the waterline that flattens spray. You know, on those days when it is a bit choppy, when it's a bit rough, we're running through it, you've got a wind maybe coming across, what you'll notice is this chine here flattens spray back onto the water, which, you know, gives a great benefit of that spray not coming on board the boat. And then finally, you'll again see this on every Sunseeker. Further up, you have this hard chine. Now, again, that allows any water that does run up the hull side, again, to be deflected out and again add to the dryness of the ride. You can see as we come aft, the main exhausts are exited underwater. This is again to eliminate noise, eliminate smoke when the boat is running. And just another thing worthy to point is a lot of yachts now have large glazing in the hull. But what you'll see here on the Sunseeker is that it's not applied afterwards. This is not moulding a hull, cutting a hole, and then applying glass that you'll see on a lot of yachts of this size. The recess for that glazing is part of the moulding process. So it's part of the structure, you know, the integral structure of the hull and strength. The glass then is applied and laid in, so it's actually flush to the hull. It's a small detail, but something that really makes the exterior design even more beautiful, and what you won't see on a lot of other yachts, even in this class. Finally, coming aft, we come to the stern gear itself, and you'll notice with the twin shafts that they are set up into pockets into the hull. Now, what this does is not only gives the hull directional stability when it's running, but also allows the shaft angle to be minimized. Again, giving you more thrust directly forward rather than an angled shaft, which is pushing the boat up rather than forward. And lastly, the rudders, which are positioned directly behind the thrust from the shafts, from the props. What this means is, although she's a shaft drive, normal style rudder steering, that you still have that ability to really carve great turns very easily from what is a very light and easy to use steering system. With that, let's go on up to the stern, to the bathing platform, so we can see more of this beautiful yacht. So here we are, we're started at the bathing platform, and as with most of the Sunseeker range, we now have a full hydraulic bathing platform. So this will go underwater to just about knee height, which makes it obviously a lot easier to launch and recover tenders. It allows you to carry a second tender potentially on the platform, but also it's a great, great ability that once you're at anchor, drop the platform. It's great for swimming on and off. You haven't got to rely on a ladder to do that. For functionality, you've got 2 pop-up cleats here on either corner. So again, once you've launched your tender, you've got somewhere to tie off to. You'll see the structure in the floor here, which once this garage door opens, there's wheels and a track system which lay into place, which allows really easy launch and recovery of the Williams 345 tender. Here we've already deployed this seat, so great area to be seated, feet in the water, having your champagne at the end of the day. And of course, once you want to pack away, these 2 cushions remove, and that seat actually folds away flush into the door. And above it, we then actually have a barbecue. So again, very, very popular. Get the shrimp and the steaks on there, and a very easy place that's out the way of the rest of the boat to be able to cook at the end of the day. Now, as we mentioned, the whole garage door here, you can see the full width will hinge up. The sunbathing, as we come up, you'll see is split to allow that happen. Before we come right into the aft cockpit, also worth mentioning, your passerelle exits from here, and actually right below that we've got again a very neat locker to keep the shore power and other shoreside services tucked away, and the cables kept out the way of the passerelle. Very important. Let's go on up to the aft cockpit. So key here again, I think, is flexibility of use. So we have a large folding table, so a great place to enjoy and relax and to eat. Obviously this table can then fold away, so maybe during the day you just want to relax and have drinks. Very much easier. Some built-in cup holders here as well, and you've got a seating area here that, with flipping this backrest forward, you then end up with a full sunbather facing aft the way it should be. And again, you'll notice a tow rail, so if you are running slowly, it's a nice place to sit, brace your feet against to keep it nice and safe. Cup holders incorporated in, grab rails as well, so it's a great place to sit and relax, either at anchor or when you are even underway. On both port and starboard side, you see you've got great access to the aft cleats. Large fair lead, so again it will direct the ropes away from the gel coat, and even on the lower level you've got a secondary spring cleat for cross springs once you're in the med. And of course, all importantly, once you're tensioning up those lines, if you're med mooring, bow lines attached, you can then use the stern windlasses with a foot control to tighten up those stern lines so you come back right into position. Port and starboard, we have safety gates that simply lift, drop into place to keep everybody secure underway. And you've got actually very good access through a hatch here that's away from the main walkway, so it can be used at any time, with access that drops straight down for normal maintenance and checking into the engine room. Forward in the cockpit, you've got this great seat. I mean, this seat here facing aft is a fantastic place to be. I mean, you're protected by the coamings either side, and yet you've still got the glazing on both port and starboard, so you don't actually feel enclosed. And with this patio door open, particularly with this secondary section open here, what a great entertaining space. I mean, you're looking at probably a 8 to 10 meter length here of seating, entertainment, sunbathing, wet bar. I mean, just a perfect space to entertain the different groups of family and guests during the day. Okay, so coming into the main saloon area, the first thing you notice, you've got this transition from outside space into more interior, luxurious feel with the upholstery, the flooring, the woodwork, and yet it's still seamlessly linked together because of this just beautiful, again, clever dooring system we have here. So as you can see, this whole port side mid-section lifts up into the coach roof. The main door, the access door, folds open to starboard, and then we've got a completely open boat. I mean, it really works well, It means that you can have it fully open during the day, maybe come the evening or the end of the day, drop it down, pull the door shut, and equally you could have it then air conditioning on or heating on, depending on where you're using the boat. So it gives you a great deal of ability of change, within this space. On the starboard side, we've got a great, it's almost like a hidden galley almost, with wine cooler, ice maker and sink here. Great storage for bottles and glassware. And then up above, maybe at the end of the day, push the button here and we've got the hidden flat screen TV that raises up, so you've got a great vision from the seating space. So on the port side, this seating, again, it's probably not so easy to see on the camera, is huge. Seating 5-6 people here quite easily. And again, we can modify this table. So at the moment, it just drops in height, depending on how comfortable you want to be sat there. But it can easily be converted, so you actually make another bed area here, which could be as equally as another place to sleep overnight, as it could be a great day bed with the roof open during the day. Ceiling wise, you'll see we've got this strip lighting feature that you're seeing in a lot of the models now, running through from the cockpit all the way through the saloon. And what this does is if you're stood in here with the door open, it just really elongates this whole area and makes it feel much larger, probably than it actually is. But it is a great feeling of space and a really nice design feature. So coming further forward, the main helm, again, it just feels like it's from a much larger yacht. So you've got a seating system here that works exceptionally well as a 2-person bench, fully seated, very comfortable, with a great footrest here. Or quite as easily, once you've got some more speed and maybe you want to brace yourself better as you're running, it acts as a great perch with the footrest back here, and everything just falls to hand really well. The screens, very easily reached. Steering is just in the right position and adjustable depending on how tall you are. Controls are right here, tabs. And we mustn't forget as well is this one, because it has the Volvo electric steering system and combined with the thrusters, that you do have full joystick control. So if you're going to use this, what you do need is visibility. And let's face it, in the inside this yacht, it's just full of glass. Forward, port and starboard, the stern area completely open. From the helm here, I can see right down to the bathing platform. It's a great view aft. And even more importantly, we can drop the window down here on the starboard side. And again, if you're docking, great visibility, makes it much easier to dock the boat when you can really see everything around you. Probably what we haven't talked about yet though is probably the key feature in this interior, and that's this beautiful carbon roof. I mean, for a 50-foot sports cruiser, this looks like something that should be off a 100-footer. Fully carbon, exposed carbon, so you can really see the weave, with then the glass sections that by push of a button we can then open. And what that gives us then is the feeling of an open sports boat with all the glazing, the stern doors open, this massive roof open. You could be on an open boat. Completely different feel. Great feeling from the helm, great visibility now forward, particularly if you're running at speed, and it gives you that real wind in the hair feeling that often a lot of enclosed cockpit boats lose. And what that does as well, now look at the port side here. We've talked about the helm and when you're running, but look on this side. We've got a stunning seating area that's in the sun, great place to sit when you're running, or even if you're relaxed at anchor, what a great place to relax and read, sat in the sun, very comfortable, great place to be. Before we go downstairs, let's have a quick word with Chris Head, the sales director of Sunseeker London Group, that can talk us through more of the specific options that they specified on this Predator 50. So Chris, here we are, sat in this beautiful saloon area. Tell us a bit more about the Predator 50.
Well, Sean, when the Predator 50 came out, I walked on board and I thought, this is massive. I mean, I'm sitting here now, I've been on a number of 50s. Obviously, we take other boats in part exchange, so I do see our competition. And when you compare the 50 to anybody else's 50, this feels like, I don't know, a 55-foot boat. Sitting here, you know, the size of that roof area, this open area here, it's a fantastic size boat, it really is. 50, what's it been out now, 2 years?
Yeah, second season.
Second season. Yep. We've done very well with it, clients like it. Because of the size of it, actually, clients are not changing them like we would want, because when they're on the second-hand market, as soon as they come in, they just sell like that.
And what's the key of that? It's the flexibility, isn't it? The internal, external space that links.
Well, it's a good all-rounder boat. It's like an apartment. We've got a, if you like, an express cruiser, a cruiser. We've got the hardtop. We've got the finish in this area, which is, you know, finished to a high standard, an interior of a yacht. You've got the external area, but once you open all the doors, the windows, you're in one big area, which, you know, it's just a great layout, it really is.
And again, I mean, looking through the spec, I know these specs quite well, as you do. It appears that this one, I mean, you've really sort of pushed the boundaries a bit on ticking the boxes. There seems to be everything, whether you're a med cruiser or even potentially using here in the UK, the specification really works for all areas.
Yeah, because we buy boats and we order, you know, 18 months ahead, because of the waiting time to build a Sunseeker, I try to spec the boats the way a boat should be spec'd. Yes, it does put the retail price up, but, you know, this boat has the twin screens, radar, plotter, it has the joystick control, upgraded AV system, and really, you know, when you look at the boat, there's not many items you would want to add to it apart from tenders and things like this.
Yeah, and talking about the specs, so we've got the twin Volvo D8 600s fitted to this boat, which is it's the right option, performs very well, and I think on screen now, hopefully you can see the performance figures, fuel economy figures, which gives you some idea of the range and capability of the yacht as well. And obviously that couples very well with Volvo's integrated control system, from the main nav screens through to the engine management and all the way through to the electric rudder system, steering system, which really integrates well and means that for a client new into boating or very experienced, it makes it very easy to use. And that's really important for you, Chris, isn't it?
It's important. I'm quite old-fashioned. I love shaft drives. This boat is shaft drive, but you've got the best of both worlds because of the joystick control, where it's linking the gearboxes to the thrusters, the bow thruster, stern thruster. The manoeuvrability is incredible. In fact, you know, when we do a handover to a client, if it's his first boat, he goes, wow, that's easy. And that's within 30 minutes of driving it. You know, where sometimes, you know, years ago we used to spend 2 or 3 days saying, no, push this one back, push that one forward, it will do this. You don't have to do that anymore. It really, the low speed handling, the important part is when you're in the marina and you've got to get this boat into that space. And we all have those little nerves, people watching us, but it's a piece of cake.
And I think that's very important, because most buyers probably moving up from a smaller boat, potentially from outboards or even stern drives, you're coming onto a 50-footer here. That's a big 50-footer, as Chris said, but with shaft drive, bow and stern thruster fitted to this boat, and the Volvo joystick system, it's a fail-safe way of looking very good mooring the boat. So that's a great benefit to any potential buyer. Chris, you know, I'm coming in, I'm buying the boat. What else do I need to add? What are going to be add to go boating in the Med?
Really, the main item which every boat should have and will have, and because it's got the large tender storage area, would be, we'd recommend the Williams 325, which fits nicely into the garage. In fact, it's built for that. Obviously your toys on top of that, which would be your sea bobs and things like this. Sunseeker comes well equipped. It comes with the Royal Doulton china, but there's the household belongings such as, you know, your cookware, your bedding and things like this. And as you know, we've partnered up with Harrods, who our clients can go to Harrods, kit their boats out with the help of their team, and really it's like moving into your apartment and buy those loose items.
Brilliant. So you heard it from Chris there, you know, really this is a turnkey operation that if you did go ahead with any of the Sunseeker range or this Predator 50, that Chris and his team all around the Med can really deliver a yacht that's ready to go. So whether you're a new buyer or an experienced buyer, it makes the whole process very easy and very painless, which boating should be. But I think from here, thank you for that, Chris.
You're welcome.
Let's carry on downstairs and have a look through the accommodation areas, and then we'll come back and finish with you in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
So, first thing that really hits me coming into this lower deck is the light. I mean, with the glazing above, I'm actually standing right below the windscreens here with the cutout above my head. So again, you don't feel isolated at all. I can see all the way through the inner saloon and into the outer cockpit. You don't feel, I mean, you know, need for lighting. You've got so much natural light coming in. 2 massive windows, port and starboard. And again, another key feature, that if you've got all this open, you don't want to have air conditioning on down here. So every cabin, every one of these large windows, opening ports to let a nice flow of air through. So let's look at some of the details again. So I talked on the upper deck about this strip lighting, these LED transverse strips coming through, and you'll see again in the saloon here we have this running through across all areas of the ceiling, and it just really lightens it up, and it's a real nice feature. You know, just gives a bit of feature to that ceiling area and allows you to keep with a plainer material, which actually then really still stands out well. On the starboard side, as soon as you come down, you've got a great seating area. This would be great for children during the day, or if you just want to relax out of the sun, but not separated because you're still joined to that upper area. And again, I don't know if the size comes over well, but for on your own, it's a great chaise longue, or for 2 or 3 people, very easy. Obviously, this table raises and lowers here, and it can be converted so it drops right down with a cushion infill, which will be a great third cabin overnight for children. You've got a massive TV on the forward bulkhead, so again, easy access for plugging in games, music, so it works exceptionally well. And then storage on these top lockers on the starboard side, and a great, just beautiful shelf actually on this back bulkhead. So again, it gives it a real feeling of an apartment rather than a yacht. Detailing again, the bottom of these stairs, I mean, they're beautiful in their own right with the timber, but then you come down, as we've mentioned in other yachts, these easy access panels into the key maintenance areas in the bilge. Again, nothing worse than having to try and pull carpets up to access. And you'll see these are beautifully fitted throughout the floor area and all the cabin space. So coming over to port side, you've got, again, just a great space. You know, it's a bar area really here. We can supply stools, although, to be honest, if you've got this seating area, you probably don't need them. So it's just a great serving space. And then coming into the galley itself, we've got fridge and freezer here, beautifully done. I mean, these handles really stand out, make it feel really solid. Storage again above. We've got storage all the way around the galley in these top box lockers. Sink, hob, microwave, even a dishwasher tucked away down at floor level there. Small, but would work perfectly well with a small family on board. And again, this galley just reminds me of everything about this boat actually, is that there's not a compromise anywhere on it. From the exterior space seamlessly linking to the inner saloon, down to this beautifully lit lower saloon, it flows extremely well. And for what is a smaller boat in our range, there's just no compromise. Just works extremely well. So coming back into the passageway, going forward, we've got immediate access to the head, which would act as the day head during the day. So obviously toilet, sink and a full shower in here. So again, very great if after swimming you want to come and get changed. Very easily done. And you'll notice the Jack and Jill door. So there's a door there through to the forward cabin. So obviously it can be locked either way, either as an ensuite from the forward cabin or a day head during the day. I just want to take a second as well, is that the woodwork on this boat, I mean, the Wenge really does stand out exceptionally well. It really looks good all the way through. And I think the mixture of fabrics, again, give it a very contemporary feel, but not cold. It's going to be dressed very easily, to give a client a real good choice on how they want it to look. So it works exceptionally well. So, forward cabin, so doorway here, opening up into what is again a great sized forward cabin. I'm not the tallest person, but you can see here you've got great headroom in this area. And probably the key for this cabin is the fact that depending on how you're using it, how your family and guests are, undo one catch here and you simply pull apart. So you end up with 2 single berths. Great feature, very, very simple to use, but gives great flexibility. Again, getting rid of that word compromise. Huge windows, port and starboard, again with the opening port, so easy to let air through. Great light into the cabin. This feature LED strip lights again, which just create this, I think, almost elongating effect all the way through the yacht. And you'll notice here that you've got a fixed port forward, just again glazed port, lets lots of light through, and an opening hatch here. And then of course simply at night or during the day, if you want to keep the sun out, pull this forward and completely shuts you off from that area. Port side, we have a mirrored wardrobe front here, great space inside. Again, if you're doing more of an extended stay rather than just a weekend, you've got great storage space all the way through the boat. Not just hanging, but cupboard space, even space underneath the bunks here, so it works exceptionally well. Massive TV for this cabin, which will be great sat on the beds looking aft. And then if we come into the cabin here looking aft, you've then got that ensuite door that we talked about earlier. Talk about the AV, I mean, again, throughout the boat, we've not mentioned it, you've got an upgraded sound package, and you'll see you've got these beautifully integrated speakers all the way through. All of that can be separated zones or all working together as the same zone. I mean, it really is well equipped on the comfort side for clients staying for extended periods on board. Works exceptionally well. So, I mean, although this is a great cabin, obviously it is the second cabin. So let's go aft from here, back through the saloon, and go and have a look at the master. Okay, so you've got one step down here to the master. Great door feature again. The woodwork features all the way through are just stunning. So open this door up, and immediately what hits you is that with some careful stepping here, you're into a midships cabin, which normally will always feel cramped. You're normally under the cockpit, and because of the overall height of the boat, you'll feel like the roof is on top of you, particularly normally over the bed. But in here, you've got fantastic. You've got 6 foot headroom, 6 foot plus, even over the bed space, which is, it works amazingly well. On the port side, great storage again, all important. Bedside cabinet, and again, it just all benefits from these huge windows, port and starboard. I mean, they're the full length of the cabin by probably 60, 70 centimetres high, which again, just lets so much natural light into the cabin. And both of them, you'll see, have got massive opening ports again. So again, like myself, if I was boating during the day, I'd like just the fresh air coming through the boat. It works really, really well. The bed itself is huge. It's a king-size bed in here. Practicalities have been thought of, so flexible reading lights as well as your overhead lights here. You've got that beautiful LED strip lighting running through again, but also 2 more spotlights here at the head. So if you do want a bit more light when you're reading, maybe just relaxing, you've got it there. And I think another key one that hit me in here, the materials are beautifully neutral, and then you get to this headboard area, which again with this stainless steel inlay, the mixture of the wood, the materials, and then the headboard material, just is a great contrast, and it's actually quite a feature when you walk into the cabin. You've got bedside cabinets either side with 2 drawers. Both of them have leather inlaid tops, another nice little feature. And for me, again, we're talking about a 50 Predator with no compromises. And look at this. Not only do we have storage on the port side, we come down to starboard side here, and you've got this breakfast area come seating area that's been very, very popular on larger yachts. You know, 60, 70 footers love to have this. Here we are at 50 feet, and it's been incorporated beautifully well and doesn't feel cramped. I mean, it feels very comfortable. Great place to, you know, sit and have a drink in the evening whilst getting ready, maybe a coffee in the morning. The windows here, imagine if you were looking outside with just the water flowing away, it's a great place to sit. So coming forward, we've got a great sized wardrobe here, probably close to 70 centimeters deep again. And if you were going for extended cruising, plenty of hanging space as well as shelving, you know, to accommodate everything you need to take with you. And again, audio visual, speakers inset into the ceiling, and a great sized TV here on the forward bulkhead. I mean, overall, the feeling again, space, light, practicality in this cabin, it feels like you're on a much, much larger yacht, much larger. And let's not forget, obviously, here on the port side, we've got access to what is, again, a very generous sized head with toilet on the aft bulkhead, beautiful sized sink and storage above, all important mirror, that's important for everyone. We've even incorporated a window with an opening port in here, and what you'll see hopefully on the video now is what is an oversized shower area, which is important. You know, if you're getting ready, you know, you want to have that space and ability to shower properly, and you've got that here. Really nicely laid out and great space for a boat of this size. Little important feature you'll see throughout the Sunseeker range actually is we even pipe aircon into the bathroom space, because it's often forgotten, can get very hot during the day, you know, so very important to have that. And it's on a closable vent, so if you don't want it once you've had your shower and getting ready, you don't want the cold air blowing, you can simply close it off. So again, summarise, great master cabin. I think a extremely flexible lower deck space. So just to summarise, I mean, this yacht, I can use 2 words to describe it really well, and that is just no compromise. Whether you're cruising as a couple or with an extended family or guests on board, it really suits every need and is very, very flexible. So we've looked at down below. Let's go back upstairs now and transcend to the foredeck so we can have a look at all the features that the yacht has to offer if you're anchored in that beautiful bay. Okay, so before we go up to the foredeck, just want to highlight another little safety feature here. So these are your main controls for the passerelle, the hydraulic bathing platform and the garage door. But you'll notice here in the center there's an enable button. So again, it stops little fingers or maybe someone accidentally pushing against this and moving the door or the platform. Little things, but learned from feedback from clients on how to make the experience on board better. So coming up onto the side deck, you've got 2 steps up, great handrail here, which gives you a lot of security. You don't feel like you're balancing down a narrow deck, and you know, you can see it's a great size side deck here. And as you come forward, you've even got a secondary handhold here as the rail starts to come up. So really, really makes it secure going forward. Because I suppose you're going to spend quite a bit of time if you're anchored in a bay coming foredeck and aft, so it needs to be easy to use. You'll see the screens again, as we talked about on the hull, are all flushed in rather than stuck on top of the GRP. Little features, but makes a big difference to the design. And probably what's key here again is you really start to see the size of the glazing that from the inside looks massive. From here you can really see the size, and how the superstructure design actually matches with the window, so you get that maximum vision going inside out, so you can actually see the water from when you're inside the areas there. Now, what I love on the Pred 50 is that you've got these little design cues, because we've talked about she is quite large for a 50 footer and quite high, but it's hidden exceptionally well by having the darker tinted glass, the carbon fibre and glass hardtop, and then setting it off with this beautiful metallic silver sprayed mouldings on port and starboard side, which really set off quite an aggressive look for such quite a large predator. Really does give it a great look. Coming forward, you can see the size of the windscreens. Now this not only brings a lot of light in, but obviously makes the visibility when you're at the helm great. Oversized windscreen wipers with washer jets here to keep that clean if you do get any spray coming aboard. And then we head on to what is again just a foredeck space with no compromise. I mean, you're walking on a very easy walkway around both sides of this central area. You've got the sunbather itself, which again, to give you scale, for 3 or 4 people would be very easily to lay out there. And you've got the canopy system, so if you want some shade during the day, some shelter, that easily comes up with the canopy to give your head and sort of torso area some shade. So it works exceptionally well, again very, very flexible. You've got side deck lighting all the way around, so LED side deck lights, so maybe in the evening only does it give obviously more access, easier access, but it actually makes a great feature when even when you're in harbour, to have those external lights on. Here you can actually see, when we're in the forward cabin, I was talking about the 2 glazed sections, the hatch and the fixed glazing, and here you can see the size. Again, this is straight into that forward cabin, so getting great light down below, and toughness, no problem, no worries about walking over. Speakers here, so you've got 2 speakers fitted on the foredeck with a separate control unit. So again, up here, it can be part of the main system, so playing whatever you are on the rest of the boat, or be separated as a zone in its own right. So forward, anchor windlass, you'll see you've got the windlass itself plus a separate warping drum. So again, med mooring. When you're coming in, those bow lines are often quite hefty. They're quite a weight, so you can easily use the drum here separately to tighten that line. And you've got easy foot controls. And why that's important, again, when you're using the line, you can use both hands and control the windlass with your feet. So if you're bringing the anchor in, you can easily see over the top, or if you're tightening a line, you've got both hands free. You've got a real oversized anchor locker here, which obviously accommodates what is 60 meters of chain on this particular boat. But also you've got a great space here for storing extra fenders. So you'll see here there's a tie-off handle for tying the line round. So you drop the fender in, tie the line, and then you could easily pull them out again. So it works exceptionally well. And then finally, just point out here, you've actually got a washdown point as well. Quite a hidden away little extra, but great practicality, that if you come in the evening and want to wash the boat down, you're not trying to stretch a hose all the way from the quayside. Plug in here with the hose and easily to wash down here, and you have a secondary point in the stern as well. So I think before we go and sit down with Chris, let's just walk back down the deck here, because I think what I'd like to leave you with is just the size of this entertainment space. I mean, just look at it from here. With that roof open, you've got a huge space of seating, helm position, sheltered seating here on the inside, then flowing right the way through to your outer cockpit space. It just feels that you're on a much, much larger yacht, and just so practical with the roof and the way the patio door can open fully up. So with that, let's go and talk with Chris and see what Sunseeker London Group can offer you in the way of services on this Predator 50. So Chris, we've had a great look round, internally, externally, and we've decided on a name for this boat already, which is No Compromise.
Great name.
It works whether you're a couple cruising or an extended family or a guest. It works in every area. So flexible. So next steps now is, how can Sunseeker London Group help a buyer? What can you guys offer?
Well, the boat is a great spec. Yes, when you look at the retail price, yes, she's at a high level price because it's a Sunseeker and the way they're built. You know, I always say to people, if you take a pile of parts, they cost X amount. Obviously, our pile of parts cost more than some of our competitors. You know, when we get that client, Sean, and whether he's got a part exchange or he wants to do a cash deal, pay outright for the boat, we can offer a fantastic deal. The client wouldn't believe what we could offer.
And just to be clear, Chris, I mean, your Sunseeker London Group, just tell everybody what that is.
Well, we are quite unique, and I believe, probably, we are the biggest independent distributor in the world as a limited company and not a PLC group. You know, we turn over, last year's was £230 million. We have 40 offices from based around Europe and just outside in other places as well, and I'll explain. So from, if you take UK through to the Channel Islands, Portugal, France, Italy, Spain, Germany, the Adriatic, down to Malta, Africa, and it's a one-stop shop. You know, it's not only buying the boat, whether the client wants finance, he wants his berth. When he's actually taken delivery of his boat, after all the training that we do, he can stop at any of these branches and say, I bought my boat from Sunseeker Pool, or I bought my boat from Sunseeker Spain, and he's treated exactly the same. And unfortunately, it doesn't work like the car business, boating. You know, you buy your car in, say, in Poole, and you take it to Scotland, there's no problem, there's no politics about warranty. In boating, because different dealers across the world are independent, their clients will come first. With us, all of those are our clients, so they can walk into any one of our stores and get the service.
So obviously this boat is sat here in Poole. So client decides to buy the boat and take it to Spain, France, Italy, wherever that may be. So talk us through that process. So it's, you organise everything from finance through to shipping and delivery. How does that work?
Yes, so a boat of this size, so the client would come in, he would agree a deal with one of the team. He would then probably ask about help with registration. No, before that, agree the deal. Do we do finance? Yes, we work with Lombard, we work with Close Brothers, CGI, all great lenders, first class banks. So, you know, finance is available on boats, usually a 30% deposit and over 10 years. So the payments can be structured to suit the client. So that's usually the first stage of it. Then he's going to want help with registration, delivery down. The boat arrives, we prepare the boat for him. So when they arrive, they may want a week's of training, or if it's an experienced boater, we still insist on saying, look, have one of our engineers with you for a couple of days just to go through things. If you want to bring your label maker, so when we take you in the engine room, we say battery charger, exhaust outlet, seacock for this, and so on. Then boat ownership starts. Then the client may want gardenage. Gardenage is where we offer cleaning services weekly, winter storage. It's really anything that client wants from start to finish. And it is different to buying an expensive car. I know you can spend £2 million on an Aston Martin. You probably deal with the salesman once, take delivery of the car, then you're handed over to the service division. In boating, it's different. The person you deal with to buy the boat is your contact. You're buying that person, not just the 2-year warranty we give. It goes on forever until he comes to buy his next boat. And you know, Sean, our success, I believe Sunseeker London Group, we have a 70% repeat business every year.
That's fantastic to hear. Really, really good. Well, look, Chris, I think that's given us a good insight in what the dealer group offers. Obviously, we've had a great look round the yacht. I think I'll leave it to Chris to sum up, but I think from my side, You know, hopefully you've enjoyed looking round. Any questions, please call Chris or one of the teams. And Chris, maybe we can sum up from there.
Yeah, well, first of all, Sean, thank you. Thank you for taking the time of showing the boat. And yes, you can contact me or any of my team. If you go onto sunseekerlondon.com, you will find the group of companies. You can read about what we do. But whether you're buying a boat now or for the future, whether it's a used boat, a new boat, we're there to talk you through the process. Sometimes it takes us 3 to 4 years to sell a client a boat. Thank God other times we can do it in a day. So call me at some time.